Hello, everyone. This is Joe Hughes from Contractor Dynamics. Whether we are creating a new website or just adding new pages, everyone has the same challenge when it comes to content writing. Here today is Brian Javelin of My Online Toolbox to help break it down for everyone. My Online Toolbox is a lead marketing, education, and strategy planning company, and we have worked successfully with them on dozens of accounts. There's a great opportunity for you here to have a powerfully ranked site. So perhaps you can create your own content, or perhaps you need someone to create content on your behalf. Let's see which is best for you. Brian, take it away.
Hey, thank you very much, Joe, and everybody. I appreciate you joining us here to help with your planning for 2018 and beyond. Your website and your marketing strategies all begin with content, and the title of this webinar is called Content is King. The purpose of this webinar is that anyone can easily understand and master online website marketing strategies. Please remember that this is your only, and again, your only 24/7 by 365-day-a-year marketing opportunity. And to continue, remember that many companies are selling leads to contractors and they're laughing their way to the bank. The reality is that this particular topic is that powerful in general, but so many contractors miss the boat when it comes to creating an opportunity to generate quality leads directly to their website. But we have a way for you to fight back, and we're going to start right now by educating you on the power of your passion of what you do, as well as your ability to help articulate it to help us drive traffic directly to your website. Keep in mind, every picture helps tell a story. However, every job helps tell even a bigger story. And what we're going to do is take a step back and remember that whether you are creating a new website or an individual web page, we want you to take a step back and help think of it more strategically as it relates to your inbound opportunities. What we're going to do today is introduce you to a contractor who just brought their website live as an example, where they didn't have a website. They weren't sure where to begin. And part of my analysis of this company was I happened to go to their Facebook their Facebook page, and I happened to notice that every time they did a post on their Facebook page, there was always a lot of consumer interaction with people liking what they say and loving what they say. And as I took a step back, I realized that the contractor had a natural ability and a gift to be able to help with excitement and passion, help present what exactly is he excited about. And of course, this is his particular job. So what we did was I started to talk to the gentleman. He happens to do restorations and reproductions of windows. And so what I did was I said, can you tell me a little bit about what it is that you do? And he said, sure. And he showed me a few pictures. Throughout showing these pictures, I said, so what is window reproductions? I really don't know what it is. He easily came up with a quick introduction to what the topic is. And then because it was a job that he worked on, he knew exactly how to say, well, this is what it looked like before, and this is what I did after. We continued to speak, and he said, but that's completely different. Window reproductions is completely different than window restorations. And he went through the same cycle of being able to show the differences of what window restorations means as a subject matter, as well as talking about the individual pictures that we were looking at. We went further, and now we walked away from the window side and we went into the wood side of his business with also restorations as the starting point. And as we continued on this journey, we then were able to sit and take all of these individual components and create a website where we would talk about at the highest level the windows portion of his business and the wood portion of his business. And every one of these individual issues had a unique page for window preservation, window restoration, window repair, and so forth when going back to the wood title too, same thing. And now we were also able to take these pictures and build a wonderful gallery of completed projects. And so he has a great first website. However, such as when a web developer is creating a website, They need the content, but then the website developer has to do their magic in taking all of this content and organize it in such a way where the search engines begin to find the actual information. So in this case, if you look closely, I'm just randomly choosing a web page where you could see how it says the Vintage Window Restoration LLC.com, which is the URL or website address, and the details that we're talking about a residential job of windows and specifically window restoration. Without getting too technical, the website company also then has to create what's called unique title tags on an individual page. And at the highest level, this is pretty much like the book cover of this individual page. What exactly are we talking about in order for the search engines to be excited about the unique content and index it for search? When we look at those pictures we were talking about, even though it helped the contractor help articulate what exactly he does behind the scenes, and many of you can go to pictures on your browsers and right click instead of left click. One of the options you'll see is inspect, and behind the scenes you'll see all this different technical code, but one of them is called alt, A-L-T, and it's basically the title tag of an individual picture, trying to explain to the search engines what exactly are we looking at behind the scenes. And when you look at it, you'll see that the window restoration identification of that picture also matches the window restoration in the title tag on the top left-hand corner. Those components that I'm mentioning quickly are the strategies of what website developers need to incorporate, but it begins by having the content in the first place. And that is where the strategy keeps going back to. Please show what you do. Please tell what you do. And as we go deeper, we could show you that it's not just for window restorations and wood preservation and so forth. This is also the same whether you're a remodeler or even a roofing company. Same type of topic where the roofer is an excellent roofer, but he's a specialty roofer. And his focus on his job is doing roofs. In this particular case, it's a historically correct mansion. When he finished the job, he uploaded a whole bunch of pictures, and then he started to explain to me, well, what are you looking at, Brian? And we started to go through. He took a drone. He actually flew it over the roof. And then he started to explain what we're looking at and all the intimate details of stuff that only he knows and not myself as a content writer can quickly glance at and know how to speak about the details of these jobs that he's doing. Now, as we back out, remember, every picture tells a story, but every job tells an even bigger story. And we will continuously emphasize over and over again. So in this particular case, for those of you who are listening, please look up for just one moment and realize we will continue to repeat the word content, content, content as much as humanly possible. What I want you to do is realize that if we go back to some of my webinars dating almost 5 years ago, it was the same exact topic in 2013 where the search engines were positioning for uniqueness and unique content. The main three topics here are having regular, helpful content targeted at your audience, have social signals that show that other people are looking to share this information and engage with whatever it is that you're speaking about, and more importantly is also to have freshness and signs that your website is actually alive and growing and not just something that you do a quick post on at the beginning of the year and forget about it and come back a year or two later to quickly sprinkle it with some other new limited information and hope that the search engines maintain the rankings that took you so long to get in the first place. So when I go through this very quickly, many of you are going to be thinking, should I pay for a content writer? And unfortunately, there is three answers: yes, no, and maybe. What happens is, remember, the importance of this education is that there's really two overlapping topics. One is the search engine optimization side, which is where website programmers and developers shine, and then comes the content marketing. And that content marketing can come from numerous different directions. It could come from you, it can come from you working with me, or it can come from you working directly with the website company and letting them do it. However, either way, all of this content should have a strategy. And when you plan for that strategy, that is where we could back into the search engine optimization and make all of those tasks so much more simpler for the website development companies. So what will happen is that as a we as My Online Toolbox, we do two things. We work with people from an education perspective, and we also work with people from a strategic planning perspective, two overlapping topics. And when we work with marketing website topics, we have basic education, which teaches everybody the generics of the website itself, such as the title tags that I was just mentioning, such as the alt description of the pictures. When we turn it up a notch with the advanced education, we're talking about the external topics such as Facebook, such as YouTube, such as Google reviews. And then we come to a strategy, taking a step back, and before writing, putting that pen down to paper and starting to write, you actually organize it very similar to the way some people could build without an architect. And many times people need an architect or somebody to draw the schematics before all of the details start being built. And that is where, when using this particular company, Vintage Window Restoration, and I commend them, and because they're so recent, that's why it's part of this webinar, they gave us a testimonial. Forgive me that I'm reading it word for word. However, it's important to make a point on the next detailed screen I bring up. He begins with, his name is Chris, and he says, I knew very little about marketing and building a website. Facebook was all I knew because it was free and relatively easy to use. When I was put in contact with My Online Toolbox, they guided me through an aspect of the business that I had no clue what I was getting into. Fortunately, with their experience in working with folks like me, I was able to break everything down into bite-sized pieces and build the content for a unique website, which is Vintage Window Restoration LLC, to not only outperform my competition, but also have a very professional image that surpasses most other contractors in my area. When I started this small business in a dirt floor garage, I dreamed of having a real about my company website. It's an amazing feeling to have that dream materialize from the ethers. We already are seeing results, and I know it will only improve over time. I love it. Obviously, it's a wonderful testimonial to get, but more importantly is success. What does success mean to me? Well, one of them is when you're building a website or an individual page, us as marketing strategists such as me, or Contractor Dynamics as a website development company and marketing company, is striving to have that information actually mean something, as opposed to just quickly getting it online and impressing you with the visual, because yes, that is a very good, important aspect of your online marketing, of what do people see when they find you. But also the harder part is having them find you in the first place, especially if they don't know you. So in this particular case, without getting too technical, it's called Moz. It's a way of ranking individual pages as well as the website in its totality, very similar to like a FICO score for your credit rankings. Here, he already has a high ranking. A lot of room to grow. However, it's very common when a new website comes live that the domain authority, unfortunately, starts as a 1 and stays as a 1 for a very long period of time until we build up the momentum to have a reason for the search engines to say that this site actually has a lot of power and a lot of ranking as a generic topic in certain types of locations that you're targeting. So behind the scenes, even more important is this company is targeting a set of topics with windows and wood, also targeting a combination of permutations, I'd rather say, of restoration and preservation, and he's also looking to cover a whole bunch of individual locations, predominantly what many other contractors are looking to do. They have a handful of different topics of what they do, and they also have a handful of different locations on where they prefer to work. Here's a gentleman who's never had a website, and in less than a few months is getting highly ranked, and even in position 1, in so many different permutations of the individual services as well as the individual locations. So the review that I got, which is wonderful to get, it's more important that he's getting the results in addition to the feel-good feeling that he has in understanding what it took to build it in the first place. So in the beginning, I mentioned about content, and I was taking a quote from research done almost 5 years ago, but here's the same research by a very popular source for you to go to. It's called Search Engine Land, where they have a complete guide to optimizing content. And literally, it starts with the same thing from 5 years ago. Google has stated that content is among its top 3 ranking factors, but now we have to ask that question, what makes good content from an SEO perspective? It goes forth to cover 2 topics, and I need to read again to cover it in case somebody's not looking. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but they have never tried to rank content in organic search. The truth is, for our purposes, beauty is in the eye of the target audience. We can't stop emphasizing what is the target audience. That target audience will cover a permutation of two things. What do you do, and where do you do it? Where do you do it, and what do you do? So when we now go to the next powerful portion of this entire review, you'll see that they talk about starting the content journey, but bringing the two together from the beginning. And what will happen is, I'm moving it up now for a second, where we're starting your SEO content journey by bringing them together from the beginning, just like an architect, where if you're working with a content marketing strategy, you want to understand the basics of SEO research. So when you begin to write, you remember to include words that are going to be part of your story. And then when you have those words written down and you pass even a generic write-up to someone like me or directly to a website company such as Contractor Dynamics, they're able to look at it and get into your soul of what it is that you're trying to express, what makes you become you, and what makes you be unique. Once they see it clearly, they're then able to sugarcoat it with all of the SEO-related topics to help generate that activity for those keywords that you're battling for to be found in the first place. This doesn't matter whether you're talking about an individual web page or you're talking about an entire website. All of it is on a page-by-page basis important to help you get the credibility and the consistency in the rankings that you're shooting for. So in summary, I also wanted to throw out there that this particular webinar was sponsored by Contractor Dynamics. We do have relationships as My Online Toolbox with many different types of independent programmers. We also work with individuals who are actually doing their own websites, and we're working with companies such as Contractor Dynamics. That's a website company where they can write the content on their own. They can create the websites on their own. In fact, every client that I showed, there were 3 here in this particular short presentation, happened to be a joint client. The key thing about the success of this 3-way relationship, meaning the contractor, Contractor Dynamics as a website company, and My Online Toolbox as an education and a strategy company, is that we're handing the content to Contractor Dynamics on a silver platter. So my objective when working with them or any other individual programmer or the owner themselves is to take the home run approach and convert it to a grand slam. In this particular case, Contractor Dynamics happens to have all of those elements of a website company down pat. And so when we're able to take a break and introduce Contractor Dynamics to an opportunity a few months later, after the contractor has their act together, after the contractor has organized some of their content and even possibly organized it perfectly well for then Contractor Dynamics to do their thing, that becomes the success story for this particular client that I just referenced with the testimonial earlier, that they packaged themselves perfectly with us in order to then have Contractor Dynamics even make them shine better. So whether you're looking for a strategy going forward with the details of education, please reach out to My Online Toolbox. If you feel you could do a lot of this on your own, please then reach directly out to Contractor Dynamics. And if you're not sure, ask us both and we'll help you make those decisions. What's best for you when you're sitting there? So think about it and remember, this is long-term objectives of whether you should be doing this yourself, such as the wood restoration company, or the person that I was showing, that roofing company. He actually is very good verbally articulating what he does, but he's not great at writing it down. So combined, we work and replace the no with the maybe. He organizes the pictures in a uniform way, and then he speaks to me, and then I work as an interim content writer to package it directly to Contractor Dynamics. And then there's circumstances where the contractor bypasses the details of the strategy and just dives right into working with Contractor Dynamics. Either way, somebody needs to create the unique content. It's either going to be you, it's going to be you working in conjunction with someone like me, or it's going to be working with you, passing it to someone like Contractor Dynamics or another website developer to be able to create that. Combined, what you're looking to do is remember that the content marketing allows you to express yourself uniquely. It allows you to have a unique presentation for somebody once they find you, but independent of that is also positioning to have them find you too when they don't know who you are. My name is Brian of My Online Toolbox. I want to thank Contractor Dynamics again today for sponsoring this presentation, and either Contractor Dynamics or myself at My Online Toolbox are here to help you design your strategy to generate more quality leads for the rest of your life. Thank you and have a great new year.
Thank you, Brian. It's always great to get a refresher on those key topics. I think the biggest thing there was strategy, and a part of that strategy, making sure that you're unique. So really appreciate you sharing those tips with us and today and always. And I look forward to speaking soon. Take care, everyone, and thank you for participating. We're going to be recording this and sending out a recording as well. Thank you.